They're disgusting.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pat's Pulpit pregame show. I am Rich Hill, here with Alec Shane to talk about Week 7 of the NFL season, specifically this week's Super Bowl 51 rematch between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. But before we jump into that, Alec, important question. How are you doing?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 6, I'm saying. I'm not horrible. I'm not great. The weekend's almost over. Yeah, again, I've said this before. I'm not a huge primetime game kind of guy. When 8:30 comes around on a Sunday night, I want to have my football done for the day. I want to watch the game if I want to, or otherwise I can go out and do some stuff or catch up on anything. So I'm not the biggest primetime guy, but it's funny. You think about this game and how we thought it was going to be or play out come August, even early September. Two powerhouses, best team in the AFC, best team in the NFC, Super Bowl rematch. They might both be undefeated at this point. Not so much. Neither team is really what they were last year.
Yeah, they've really not picked up where they left off. Patriots defense, huge question mark this entire year. Looks to be another question mark this week without Stephon Gilmore and Eric Rowe and Landon Roberts now. So a lot of question marks going on with the Patriots defense. The Falcons offense, they're dealing with only a new offensive coordinator, and yet all of a sudden they've dropped from being a 10 offense of all time to being mediocre this year. Not really sure how or why that happens beyond just a change in offensive philosophy. But before we get into all of that, Alec, have you had a chance to look at any of the games that have taken place this week, or have any of the final scores caught your eyes?
I mean, once again, barn burners all up and down the NFL. Really great product they're putting out there. I guess we should probably start talking about the Thursday night game. Chiefs-Raiders. What a bizarre turn of events that was. What a crazy ending. I cannot remember an ending like that in my entire history as a football fan.
Well, I can remember an ending where it should have been similar to was that 2013 game between the Patriots and the Panthers, where the officials threw the flags and just picked it up. They just decided, you know what? Let's just call it a game. We don't want to hang out here any longer. And so just game over. This time, the Chiefs and the Raiders, they had 7 final plays of the game. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know. It was kind of like sadistic, but it was just seeing the Chiefs slowly just go, wait a minute, it's not over. Wait a minute, again? Wait a minute, why is this still going on? And it just kept going and going until the Raiders were finally able to punch it in. And then the officials said, our work here is done.
Yeah, it's funny. My highlight of that game, honestly, isn't even an on-field thing. Marshawn Lynch, after getting ejected, he snuck into the stands in like a hoodie and like a scarf over it. You see this? It's like a picture on Twitter somewhere of him watching the game in the nosebleeds as a fan because he got kicked out for charging the field and punching the ref or grabbing the ref. He didn't punch anybody. But I think that game is such a great encapsulation of Thursday Night Football as a whole. Because absolutely anything can happen on Thursday night, and there's no way to predict it.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch is all about that action, boss.
Totally.
You know, that's one of my favorite lines of all time. Make the story even better. He was going out there to contest a call on behalf of a Chiefs player. His cousin is Marcus Peters, the cornerback all-pro for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Lynch was freaking out because of a penalty. And so he was just like, wait, I'm going to go protect my cousin. And so right now, Marshawn Lynch is appealing. He was suspended 1 game for grabbing the official. He's suspended for a game. Marcus Peters is going to go to the hearing to appeal on his behalf. So you have a little bit of this division rivalry getting thrown out the window. And I'm sure Chiefs fans are like, wait, what are you doing? Why are you trying to help them out here? But you know what? That was kind of the high point of this week so far, because every single other game on Sunday was kind of either a bizarre letdown or just a really ugly showing. I mean, you have 3 shutouts. You know, the Jaguars beat the Colts 27-0. Rams beat the Cardinals 33-0. The Chargers beat the Broncos 21-0. Patriots play the Chargers next week, which could be interesting. The Chargers have won 3 straight. Then you have a bunch of other snoozers. The Seahawks beat the Giants 24-7. Cowboys beat the 49ers 40-10. Kind of the only close games, and you can let me know if any of these sound interesting to you. Just jump in. I'm going to give you one game. Titans-Browns, overtime. Titans win 12-9. All field goals. Would you be happy with that game?
Well, I mean, if field goals are your thing, if you had the Titans kicker, then yes, if you're a fantasy guy. But otherwise, like, why would anybody ever watch this game if you weren't like a diehard Titans or Browns fan? I would love to know the Nielsen ratings for Titans Browns. Must have been through the floor.
Yeah, it's just such a non-starter to watch. I mean, Browns are 0-7. I saw this really great jersey going around Twitter of a Kellen Winslow jersey that was modified where they just got rid of the L, which, you know, kind of ironic. They should have just left it. And then they got rid of the W. So it just says wins 0. And that's, you know, that's just the perfect Browns uniform. 0-7 on the year, well on their way to another first overall pick. Maybe they'll finally get their quarterback of their dreams. Deshaun Kaiser, the current quarterback, was apparently partying on Friday night out until the wee hours of the morning, and the coaches aren't too happy about that. Who knows? It's a typical Browns season. I'm happy that the Titans managed to pull it off, but they were supposed to be the team in the AFC South to kind of give them some legitimacy while the Houston Texans were losing J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless, and then all of a sudden the Texans are still being a pretty solid team out there. They're on their bye week right now, but Titans are now 4-3. Other two games of note for us regards the AFC East. First one was the Bills against the Buccaneers. The Bills won 30-27, but they scored 10 points in the final 2.5 minutes of the game to mount a comeback. I don't know what to think of this Bills team. They're 4-2. My soul tells me that the Bills are going to experience a week 10 to 12 collapse that just happens like clockwork. Is there any reason that we should think otherwise?
Again, I'm a very big proponent of watching history, observing history, and historically kind of going with history. And the Bills do this. Is what they do every year. I will say, though, like, the Bills look good. I think they're honestly the most consistent and complete team in the AFC East right now. I cannot believe I just said that, but it's true. They're not vastly inferior on one side of the ball. They're fairly balanced on offense and defense. They've won some pretty notable games. They came back. I mean, Buccaneers aren't a great team, but to score 10 points in the last 2 minutes, you have to have an offensive ability to do that. The defense is pretty solid. And on the other half of the AFC East, we can talk about the Jets and Dolphins in a minute. I just feel like neither of those two teams are going anywhere. So it's the Patriots and the Bills. The Patriots defense stinks. Their offense is inconsistent. And so I think the Bills are the most balanced team in the division right now. I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to talk about the AFC East being the strongest division in the NFL. You know, you have to put some respect on their name right there, because the Bills are 4-2, Dolphins are 4-2, and the Jets are the best 3-4 team this year. You know, you gotta appreciate what they're putting out there. I wasn't expecting it. I watched the Dolphins and Jets game. You know, I watched the last part of it just to see how it was playing out. Jets had built up a 28-14 lead, and then the Dolphins scored 17 fourth quarter points to run away with a 31-28 victory. They benched Jay Cutler. I think he was hurt, and then they had to bring out Matt Moore, and apparently the fans were cheering the injury to Jay Cutler, which, you know, is exactly what you don't like to see out there. Jets were, I mean, I thought that this Jets team was well on their way to going 0-16. They're just half a game below 500. They're being very, very scrappy every single game. They're never just showing any quit, and you have to appreciate that a little bit. They're kind of fun to watch. Austin Seferian-Jenkins is having a resurgent year at tight end. But do either of these teams worry you in the long run in the same way that the Bills might?
No, not in terms of a potential playoff opponent. I think that the Jets are not going to make the playoffs. I think the Dolphins, it's a quarterback-driven league, and Matt Moore is not the guy to bring you to the playoffs. And with the entire NFL, really, but with the AFC East, such a mess. There's really, especially these past couple weeks, I guess it's the Chiefs, Steelers, and Patriots still, but those top three is much more muddled. There's really no way that any team can beat any other team or lose. It's all just kind of a mess. And I don't think the Dolphins, as that mess starts to unfold in late November into December, they're not going to be around. But the Bills, I don't know. I guess we talked about a little while ago about how the Bills are just kind of historically going to collapse. But maybe this is the year. Maybe since absolutely anything goes, and who knows – in the NFL, if the Bills were going to make a run, it would be 2017, because absolutely nothing makes sense anywhere in the National Football League right now. So nothing is more bizarro than like the Bills winning the division, the Patriots being like a wild, like that's possible this year because nothing makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think this could be one of those years where the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins all finish in that 7-9 and 9-7 range. Just flip a coin at the end of the year because the Patriots have to play all of them. Patriots win them all. Patriots could win the division. Otherwise, who knows? It could be just a wrench in all of it. We'll find out later on how it all stands. But let's talk about this any given Sunday right now. Patriots and Falcons. Patriots definitely hurting. We have their inactives report of the notables. They will be without Stephon Gilmore, no Eric Rowe, no Landon Roberts. Also worth noting that Cameron Fleming, the offensive tackle, is inactive. It shows that Adrian Waddle has jumped him in the depth chart. No Geno Grissom, no Harvey Lange, no Cole Croston. 3 of those players are very, very important, especially with this potentially potent Falcons offense in town with Julio Jones. They should have Mohamed Sanu back. Taylor Gabriel is always exciting. Austin Hooper is capable of a lot. They have 2 very, very talented running backs. This Patriots defense right now, after a season of struggles, they come into this rematch, highly notable game, without a full strength of players. What is going to happen?
Yes, Rich. That's again, I have no idea, and it's this. I guess this kind of pokes a hole in my podcast conspiracy theory about Stephon Gilmore being a healthy scratch. They're hiding behind a concussion because he's not getting the job done. I don't think they'd sit him 2 weeks in a row, especially against such a potent offense as Atlanta. So he must really be hurt. I can't imagine where he got hurt, but I'm not gonna question myself anymore with that one. I just, I guess I will say this. This is one of those games where you look at just the way the Falcons have performed and underperformed over the course of the season. You look at the way the Patriots defense can't seem to stop anybody ever. And if you go back actually and watch the all-22 of the Jets game, I feel like a more competent quarterback probably would have made the plays necessary. There were guys open on 4th down, and there were throws that Josh McCown missed. So a lot of the areas where the defense is stiffening up, I think is more incompetent quarterback play than anything else. Matt Ryan is not the Matt Ryan of 2016. His QBR has dropped significantly. They still can't seem to get it done in the second half. They seem to be blowing leads left and right, especially against the AFC East. They have a problem with these guys. I just don't think, on paper at least, this Patriots secondary has any chance to match up well against the Falcons offense. I just don't see it.
So you look at the defensive backs that are going to be available. You have Malcolm Butler, and we have to remember that last season in the Super Bowl, they didn't match him up against Mohamed Sanu or Julio Jones. They had Logan Ryan take Mohamed Sanu. They had Eric Rowe cover Julio Jones. So Malcolm Butler is out there covering Taylor Gabriel. And we can remember that early game pass that Butler just tripped up, fell down, and Taylor Gabriel had a huge gain. I'm always someone that's going to argue that Malcolm Butler should never cover a speedster because he bites on those double moves way too often, and that allows these players to get to the second level. Taylor Gabriel is just a matchup nightmare from that situation. I personally would say, Malcolm Butler, I would like you to kind of shadow Mohamed Sanu. Who knows how much he's going to play? Sanu's coming back from an injury, but that's the kind of matchup that I would have as favorable for the Patriots. And then you could give Johnson Batamosi plus all 5 safeties on the roster to help cover Julio Jones. I just, when you have this Falcons offense, they have so many talented players. Don't even get me started on the running backs, which we will talk about in a little bit. I just don't see a combination of defensive backs for the Patriots plus coverage linebackers and safeties. I don't see a positive way for the Patriots to match up and walk away with a win.
Now, again, who covers who is a really good question. What do? I guess maybe you play a lot more zone. Maybe you don't go man today, and maybe do a combination like a man under zone scheme where guys just have a assignation to one part of the field. But Matt Ryan's a good quarterback, and he's good against the zone. So I really don't know what you do. That's why I think more than any other week, we're going to need Trey Flowers, who's my defensive X factor, to duplicate his Super Bowl performance. I need the pass rush to come in fierce. We need to make sure Matt Ryan is not back there in the pocket having all day. If they get hands on him, as they've gotten hands on quarterbacks over the past of the season, they can't let him scramble away, and they can't let the running game get going, because if the running game gets going, the linebackers start cheating up and letting the middle of the field go, and that's going to be an absolute nightmare. So I don't think the secondary is going to win this game for the Patriots. It's going to be, if it's won, it's going to be in the trenches. The pass rush finally finds its teeth, led by Trey Flowers. Lawrence Guy and Alan Branch could be those run stuffers we need them to be, and Matt Ryan's going to have a long day in terms of having to run for his safety. Otherwise, if he's back there handing the ball off with good running and we have good timing with the passing, it's going to be a long day for the defense.
Yeah, and Johnson Batamosi is going to have the game of his life. Regardless of who he matches up against, he's going to likely see a lot of time. I would personally put Jonathan Jones in coverage of Taylor Gabriel. I think that would be a good matchup, and give Johnson Batamosi plus a safety against Jones. He would be an easy pick to be the X factor, but he's not someone that I would expect to really be able to dictate how this game plays out. So if he has an average game, then I'm going to take that as a win. If Julio Jones gets 80 yards and a touchdown, I'm going to say, you know what? He didn't completely take over the game. That's okay by my book, so long as my defensive X factor, Dante Hightower, has a good game, because exactly what you said is the Patriots' ability to stop the run is going to be so crucial for this team's ability to build up an early lead and possibly dictate the pace of the game. And if Dante Hightower is able to play in that middle of the field like he has been for the past couple of weeks, if he's able to help stop the run like the Patriots were able to do against the New York Jets, that could open up some pass rush for Hightower or Kyle Van Noy or Flowers, as you said. A lot of other players can really benefit from that. It could put the Falcons in more predictable passing situations, take the ball away from the running backs, and that would give the Patriots more comfort dropping back into coverage. I think Hightower needs to come out, be the Hightower that earned that giant contract this offseason. And if he's able to do that, then maybe the Patriots will have a chance.
No, I like that. A problem I have, though, let me ask you this, Rich. What do you do if you're Matt Patricia against Devontae Freeman as a receiving back? He's pretty good as a mismatch in coverage. Coverage linebacker has been an issue for years, going back to 2014. They cannot seem to cover running backs on the wheel routes coming out of the backfield, the flats, the in cuts. They can't seem to figure out how to cover running backs who are pass catchers. So if you're the Patriots, how are you defending against the receiving backs of the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, they have Freeman, and then they also have Tevin Coleman, who is a running back that all the Patriots coaches have mentioned as being one of the fastest running backs that they will see this entire year. And I think that's a very important descriptor, because the Patriots use matchups based off of the skill sets of the opposing players. And if it was a receiving back that doesn't have burner speed, like the Matt Forte, then maybe they'd feel comfortable putting a linebacker out there in Kyle Van Noy, in Dante Hightower, maybe even Marquise Flowers, who could have a bigger role with a Landon Roberts sidelined, and that could bump Dante Hightower into the middle. Those are all possibilities. But with a player like Coleman, who is just so quick, that he's going to torch whatever linebacker is asked to cover him in the open field. And so when the Patriots have matched up with these faster running backs, like the Tyler Irvins of the Houston Texans, they like to use their defensive backs. They ask Patrick Chung to kind of cheat up into the box and to just cover him if he ever goes out into the flat. And that kind of adds another body into the underneath. So it's not like they're completely wasted if the Falcons decide to say, you know what, let's just keep Freeman in the backfield. So there's kind of a mush rush aspect there. But they use Patrick Chung. He's been not perfect, but he's been more capable of covering the running backs out of the backfield than any of the linebackers. But then there is, again, a trickle-down effect of, okay, does that mean that Devin McCourty has to cover Austin Hooper? Then does that mean that Daron Harmon is the one that's helping Johnson Batamosi against Julio Jones? And in that case, I still might say Julio Jones has an advantage against double coverage of Johnson Batamosi and Daron Harmon. So the Patriots have to figure out how they can kind of deceive the Falcons, not really tip everything so much. But if I were Matt Patricia, I would say I'm not even going to risk putting a linebacker in coverage of either of these guys. Patrick Chung, this is your time to really step up.
Interesting. So do you think maybe like a dime is your base coverage tonight?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I think that we're going to see a lot of Jordan Richards tonight. If I had to throw out a crazy, probably should have been my defensive X factor. If I had to throw out a crazy scenario, I do think that there's going to be a lot of dime. We've seen Jordan Richards play the linebacker role a little bit this season, where he's been in the box. He's been helping against the tight ends. I think that the Patriots are going to go lighter in the secondary to really try and entice the Falcons to run the ball a lot, and they want to be able to stop the run, of course, but they also have shown time again in the past that if they feel like the opposing offense has such a great advantage in the passing game, that they're going to sell out to stop it, because they would rather face an opposing offense that runs the ball, picks up 4 or 5 yards at a clip, than risk having Matt Ryan hit Julio Jones, risk having Peyton Manning in 2013 hitting Demaryius Thomas for 60 yards and a score. So they'd rather sell out to defend the pass. And by putting Jordan Richards out there, that allows, maybe he could be the one that covers the running back out of the backfield, although I'd still feel a little more confident with Patrick Chung doing that. but that could allow Chung to drop back. But this could be one of those games with 4 safeties and 2 cornerbacks as the base defensive set for most of the game.
Once again, who knows? Anything goes in 2017. I think the running game is going to be huge for both teams. There's a good transition to the offensive side of the ball. We talked last week a bit about how in our podcast, about how the Patriots would run the ball 3 times or 4 times for 4 or 5 yards at a clip, and then suddenly throw 6 times for 2 yards and punt. And there's really no balance or offensive identity, and they can't seem to find a way to get or stay with momentum that's kind of building with the various plays they're running. I personally see the running game as a massive, important part of today's game. Actually, my X factor offensively is going to be Mike Gillislee. I want this to be the game where he carries the team on his back. He gets me 20, 23 carries, grinds out the yards, keeps the defense on the field, keeps the offense off the field, more importantly, and tires out that Atlanta defense. So we all know what happens when the Atlanta D gets tired. 25-point comebacks happen when the Atlanta D gets tired. So do you think the running game is going to happen today, or is it going to be more kind of the mismatch? We'll throw it, we'll pass it, who knows kind of thing?
Well, what's important is that the Patriots coaching staff, I think that they give a lot more honesty in their press conferences than people like to admit. They were referencing how happy they were with the Patriots run game against the New York Jets defense. And historically, the Patriots have never liked to run the ball against the Jets because you're typically running into, Damon Harrison, Muhammad Wilkerson, Leonard Williams, Steve McClendon, Sheldon Richardson. You're running into the teeth of the strength of the entire Jets roster, not even their defense. That's where they invested all of their capital, is in their defensive line. So they never liked running the ball up the gut with, the Stephon Ridleys or the LeGarrette Blunts until this year. They did it a little bit at the end of last season, but that was because the Patriots were winning in a blowout, and so they were just running out the clock, and they were allowed to do that. This year, they decided to go from the onset, Mike Gillislee and Dion Lewis right up the middle. That's not something that you see a lot of. And Bill Belichick mentioned after the game that, he was very happy with how James Devlin was blocking out in the base formation. He was really excited to see the offensive line have so much success. And they were kind of doing what they needed to do. And everyone sees that Mike Gillislee is 1 or 2 plays away from breaking out for a 50-yard gain. He's just been this close so often. And then you're seeing Dion Lewis really come on strongly over the past couple of weeks. And I actually think that Dion Lewis, he's going to be my X factor. So we'll have dueling running back X factors. I think that Dion Lewis is going to be a very important part of this Patriots offense because of that versatility that he provides, because he has the capability of running up the middle, because he's able to block, because he's able to take those swing passes to the outside, because he's able to stretch the defense across. That is going to open up opportunities for other players on that Patriots team. And an important part of what the Patriots try to accomplish on offense is to attack every inch of the field. And that forces the opposing defense to defend every single possible scenario. And that should count almost as similar to Mike Gillislee pounding the rock and wearing down the defense, because they're always going to have to be aware of what's going on around them. And by having Dion Lewis out there, they're not going to ever settle and say, oh, Gillislee's out here, it's going to be a run. If it's Dion Lewis, they're going to have no clue because it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to be a pass or a run if he's out there. And that's valuable. He is really coming on well. He was showing shades of what he was doing at the early part of 2015. I'm expecting a big coming out parade and coming out party for Dion Lewis this week. He's really going to assert himself as that starting lead guy.
Here's hoping, because I think the Patriots are going to need to lean on the running game for a lot of reasons today. A, to keep the offense on the field and the Atlanta Falcons offense off the field, and to keep that Atlanta pass rush. I watched some highlights. The defense is fast. It's not an elite defense, but it is a fast defense. They're getting off the line quickly. They're good at snap reading, and I can see Nate Solder having another long day if he gets a couple early in there. Jarrett Grady had 3 sacks in the Super Bowl. These guys are not messing around. They've got a good line. They've got good ability. One area I think the Patriots are definitely at an advantage, though, is the secondary against the Patriots receivers, including Gronkowski and Dion Lewis, James White as receiving back. How do you see the Falcons matching up cornerback to receiver or cornerback to tight end in this matchup?
So the Falcons, the Falcons have a really good secondary, in my opinion.
They do.
I mentioned that not be a top 5 unit right now. But if you ask me who would be the top 5 or the best secondary in the NFL over the next 5 years, they would probably be my pick, because Robert Alford is a quality cornerback. He's a very good number 2 guy that can step up, cover good players with safety help, can move around the entire formation into the slot if necessary. He's kind of their version of a Logan Ryan. Then they have Desmond Trufant, who is a very capable number 1 cornerback. He's one of those elite players. Then you got Keanu Neal, their strong safety that they like to keep in the box. He's going to match up against Rob Gronkowski a lot. He's very, very productive. And they love Ricardo Allen as their free safety. They believe that he is the second best free safety in the league after Earl Thomas. That's what, Dan Quinn comes from the Seahawks, so he's a little bit biased, but that's his opinion. And so they really trust those top 4 guys. The 5th guy, Brian Poole, is their nickel cornerback, and he gets to match up against a lot of the slot players, and he is not as good as the rest of them. And so Danny Amendola could be a really big factor for the Patriots if, Brandon Cooks matches up against Alford, if Chris Hogan matches up against Trufant, which is what I think would happen if the Patriots try to keep sides. I could also see the Falcons just saying, we're just going to play our cover 3. We're just going to drop everyone back. Those are all possibilities, but that leaves Brian Poole in the slot. And so Danny Amendola had a very strong game in the Super Bowl. Julian Edelman also had a very strong game. Whichever Patriots receiver comes out of the slot, whether it's Amendola, whether it's Hogan, whether it's Cooks, my money is going to be on Amendola. They are going to have an opportunity to be extremely productive if they take advantage of the opportunities in front of them.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to play a little game for you, Rich. I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to tell me if it's going to happen or not tonight. All right?
Okay, go for it.
All right. Dwayne Allen catches a ball.
I'm still on the Dwayne Allen train. I think he deserves a chance. He has not been afforded any real legitimate target opportunities. He will get a catch this night, and he will also score a touchdown.
Oh, wow. Big prediction. I like it. All right. 150 combined rushing yards for the Patriots.
They're going to come up shy of that. They will run the ball a lot, but they will need to pass the ball early on. They have not cracked 125 rushing yards this season. They're going to come in maybe 125, 130. I don't think they'll break 150, but they could score a couple touchdowns on the ground, be productive enough to get the job done.
All right. Over 100 yards or 100-yard plus receiving night for Brandon Cooks.
Oh, yeah. I think Brandon Cooks is going to really light it up. This is what the Patriots wanted him for, these sorts of situations. They are going to target the Falcons deep because that's one of the best ways to attack the cover 3 is to kind of put pressure on the free safety and make them have to decide who they're going to help. And if you have Rob Gronkowski coming out of the end line, it dictates a lot of how these teams have to force their coverage. And so Brandon Cooks has shown time and time again the ability to get behind quarterbacks so long as Tom Brady has the arm strength to deliver it to him. Brady has been extremely accurate this season, but there have been times where the arm strength hasn't necessarily been there. But will be enough. Brandon Cooks will crack 100 yards. Tom Brady will find him for at least a pair of 30-plus yard catches this night.
All right, that leads to my next question. I got 2 more for you. If there's some deep passes coming, it means Brady's going to have time in the pocket. 2 sacks or less for Tom Brady tonight.
More. I'm going to go with more. I think Grady Jarrett is a very impressive talent in the middle of the field as it relates to rushing the quarterback. He's just fantastic. If you had Geno Atkins and you cut him in half and said, run defense, Geno Atkins, pass defense, Geno Atkins, Grady Jarrett is that pass defense, Geno Atkins. He doesn't have that same run ability, but he can really disrupt the pass. So Shaq Mason and Joe Thuney are going to have their hands full. If I were the Atlanta Falcons, I would say, Dontari Poe, you are 350 pounds of just muscle. I want you to bull rush Joe Thuney every single time you can. And then Grady Jarrett, I just want you to just mess with Shaq Mason's head because you had a lot of success in the Super Bowl. So let's see if you can do it again. And then, as you alluded to earlier, Nate Solder does not do well with the speed rushers around the edge. So whether it's Vic Beasley, it's most likely going to be Vic Beasley because I don't think Brooks Reed is capable of doing that. So Beasley is going to be asked to kind of turn the corner a few times. I think Marcus Cannon is going to have another strong outing, to be quite honest. But you have enough players on that defensive line, including some of the linebackers that can give the New England offensive line some trouble. So I'm leaning towards 3 or 4 sacks on the night.
All right, last question, which will lead to predictions. The betting line or the over-under for me, I'm saying 45 combined total points from the Falcons and Patriots, over or under.
You're only seeing 45? I thought it was 54. I'm going to take the 45, I'm definitely going with the over. The Patriots are 4-point favorites, or 3 to 4 point favorites. So that would have implied, a 25-21 sort of final score in the Patriots' favor. And so I'm going to go way higher than that one. This is going to be a chance where maybe both teams score over 30 points. I'm not going to give my prediction just yet, but I'm definitely hitting the over if it's 45, and I'm definitely considering hitting the over if it's a 54.
Wow. Okay. I just feel like this is one of those games where all signs point to a shootout. All signs point to a strong offense and then questionable defenses, which means that it's going to be like a 9-6 game because that's what's happening in the NFL this year. So I just feel
like redux.
Yeah, I just feel like all the signs are in place for once again a game that no one's expecting to see, kind of coming in and throwing a monkey wrench in the whole operation.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so with all this in mind, let's get into predictions.
All right. So I guess I will go here again. I think that my gut is telling me the Falcons win this game, and they win this game convincingly. I think that if you were on the roster in 2016, you've had to deal with 28-3 for a long time now, almost a full calendar year. We're in like 9-10 months of this. They're going to be motivated. Matt Ryan's not great in prime time, but I think the Falcons are just a better team than the Patriots 2017 right now, which is why I'm picking the Patriots to win this game and win this game by like some weird score where like the defense suddenly finds its teeth and they don't stop. They stop the Falcons and everything goes right. I'm going like 28-13. I am. I don't know why. I'm just feeling Patriots 28-13. Like this is the game that no one sees coming. This is the most ridiculous, inaccurate, nonsensical, uneducated prediction I can make. It's probably going to be right.
Yeah, well, I feel like you're basing the 28-13 after a certain 28 and something 3. I don't know. It's escaping me right now. There's something there.
Nothing gets by you, Rich.
I'm going to go with your actual original prediction. I think that the Falcons are the more complete team right now. The Patriots, for whatever reason, are not able to win at home. Think they're going to continue to see that. They've struggled against bird teams at home in the past. This is going to be a game where the Falcons get their revenge, 34-31.
Well, that means another close game, which also, if you're right, that means the Patriots will have tied it up, and Matt Ryan will have the ball in his hands last because it seems that whoever's had the ball in his hands at the end of the game has a chance to win. That's kind of the streak we're seeing in 2017. So hopefully the last guy with the ball in his hands is Tom Brady because that ended up with the Patriots the last time these two teams met. But I will say this, Rich, even if you are right, even if you're correct and the Falcons win tonight, when it really mattered, the Patriots won. That's all I really care about.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what is important. Who cares? They won the Super Bowl. So regular season game doesn't really matter. Patriots, if they do lose, they will actually be 4-3, and they will be in third place in the AFC East because the Dolphins and the Bills are both 4-2, which is kind of surprising. And so Patriots would then go ahead and face the Chargers, but we will have more on that after the game. We will have our recaps and in-game updates on patspulpit.com. We will have all the information possible. We'll have film breakdowns. Hopefully Patriots come out of this one with a victory. It would be nice to see them move on to 5-2 and keep pace with the Chiefs and the Steelers atop the AFC. Both of those teams are 5-2 as we currently speak. So, Alec, do you have any final thoughts on this game?
Nope.
All right. Well, this is just going to be another wild night of Sunday Night Football. And until next time, Alec, you have a good one.
See you, bud.
Later, man.